There's always someone in the family that everyone expects more from. Yeah, sometimes it's more than one person, but inevitably there's someone where people put the weight of their lives on. They expect you to solve everything, take on the burden of their lives, and really suffer through your own like it's nothing. Who cares about your journey? Mine is such a life. I've had it my whole life where people have expected more from me than I think is reasonable or fair. And in all honesty, it gets exhausting. I have people who see through my content. I have depressing and low days just as much as everybody else. I can transcend beyond them. I'm good at analyzing and working my way through it. But that's working my way through my journey. So it's a lot of time. It's the timing of things. It just becomes surreal. It's like you're expected to solve other people's crisis when you're going through your own, and it's like this is outrageous. I had a mediumship reading back in 2018, I think it was, with my mum. It wasn't for me; it was for her. Her mother come through, and she mentioned that my mum was struggling because my stepdad had passed away and things like that. And then she said, "If you're struggling, you can put a lot on him." And I was there. The guy had pointed to me. He said, "She's referring to you." I said, "What?" Because I was at a breakdown at that point. I was going through family court, separation from my daughter. I was a mess. Um, and she said, "This one here he has strong shoulders. You can put a lot on him." And I look at my journey as I ascend past that and things I've done since, and it's like I am strong. I know I'm strong. I'm resilient, but I still have the capacity to be negative at times. It's just I'm sick and tired of the pressure always exerted to me though. Like people don't invest in my journey, but I'm expected to solve the riddles to theirs, and it's like this doesn't make sense to me. Um, One of the biggest ones is my brother. Now I don't want to poke at people that are vulnerable. It's not personal, but it's a reflection of, and that's all it is. It's just I still love my brother, um, but there are sort of issues there that he is vulnerable. He does have his personal issues, but I also have mine, and that's where I just get a bit annoyed because it's like what. I'm not asking for any sympathy, but I think it's just an understanding really of what I'm going through too wouldn't hurt sometimes. We both live alone. I live the furthest away from everybody. Like I am literally the furthest of all of the siblings and everything. Um, he has an ex partner well, they're in a relationship now. It's a bit weird. It's not traditional. It's a bit strange of a relationship in all honesty, but it works for them. And they travel up to see him and they spend time with him, whether it's a week, whether it's a weekend, and things like that. I don't have anyone travel to see me, so in that sense, even though he gets lonely, I'm lonelier. I can cope with it. I'm me. I'm strong. I work on things. I'm always working on myself. I have projects. I always have things I'm focused on achieving. Whereas he's given up, but then he's got health conditions now. But then I just think he gave up before the health condition. And little things like this. So I was always trying to give him pep talks to say, look, you have to have things to strive for in life, or you just deteriorate. That's just what life's about. You have to have goals. You have to have dreams. You have to have things to fulfill. That's why when people get to old age, some perish early after they retire because they literally gave up on life. You have to have something to wake up for. That's the point. But he has struggled, and and I struggle too. But it gets heavy. Like a lot of people dismiss. I don't think I don't know. They just seem to sugarcoat over what I've been through, and it just gets annoying because I'm the one that's separated from my daughter. Out of everyone in the family, I'm the one that's estranged from my child. And I had the life of my dreams. I've spoke about it before, and I've spoken about it many times. When you look at your happy moment, my happy moment was when I had a family unit. I don't have that. That's again, it's not to say I want the ex back. I certainly wouldn't because I've grown beyond it, and I'm not like the way they've treated me since. And then my daughter, it's just been disgusting. But if you go back to the time before that happened, I was happy. And I had that all taken away from me, and I have to live with that. I have to live with that change, and no, I can't do anything about it. You can't hurry love. You can't guarantee. You can't guarantee when you meet someone. So I'm incredibly lonely, and I'm very sad at times. And maybe it comes across in my content. I mean, I know when I'm really sad because I'll wake up later. When I'm really happy, and I know this in myself, when I'm happy, I'll go to bed at a reasonable time and I wake up at like 6 in the morning. It's like you've got the whole day ahead of you. That's great. I feel fresh. I'm creative. Like, I work on my projects. I'm like really like life. At the moment, I'm going to bed at ridiculous late. And then I'm like, well, I gotta go to sleep, go get some sleep, and then I'll wake up at a stupid time where half the day's gone. Does that sound like someone that's happy, or is it someone that's just existing? Because I know myself. I'm not an idiot. I know, and it's a way of coping through trauma, though, and coping with stress and coping with life. When you're not at your happiest, it's literally just get through it, and that's the stage I'm at the moment. Let's just get through it. Let's just get through it. So meanwhile, I'm going through all this, and then there's always this pressure on me to solve other people's problems. And it's always me, the one everyone expects so much of. Like, oh, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. It's like, this is, yeah, even if you can, is it fair that I should? This is outrageous. He always wants me to sort of like visit him and do stuff. And like, it's just crazy though, because to put it into context, he lives an hour away. So for me to go, like, let's say, like, my mum's always like, why don't you pick him up and bring him to yours? Like, no, it's an hour to his house. So it'll take me a flat. It would take me an hour to pick him up, hour to bring him to mine, and then an hour to take him home, and an hour to come home for myself. That's 4 hours of travelling. That's outrageous. You can get up and down the country for that. This is stupid. People don't really correlate that. They just seem to think, oh, he could do good. He's like, no, I can't drive for 4 hours in a single day just to have someone visit my home. Are you mental? I think it's for people to meet you in the middle sometimes, They put on half the effort here. It's always expected you do it all. So he's got a medical appointment. Now, bear in mind, I had an X-ray last year. I didn't know if I've like arthritis in my back, my knees. They only did my knees and my hands for some weird reason because I've got other things, blood circulation problem. But that's just a genetic thing. But I had to go to the X-ray, and I went on my own. I'm okay. I'm fine. I'll make the appointment, and I'll go and attend the appointment, and then I'll wait for the result, and I'll hear the result. I do. It's not complicated. But now he's got a test, and he's got to go to the hospital just for a test. Just for a test. And I understand some people do want support. But I've just explained how far that travel is. That's outrageous. Because from my understanding, if it's the same hospital I went to with him before, because I had to take him before somewhere, it's literally maybe about 10 minutes down the road. Like, you get a taxi, it's 10 minutes. Literally, 10 minutes there, 10 minutes back. But yeah, it'll take me an hour to get to him and an hour to get home. All because he wants someone to go with him to the hospital. And it's like, just for this test. And I'm like trying to explain to my mum, because everyone puts pressure on me all the time to be the saviour of everything. I'm like, this is just crazy though. Like, you're not going to get the result there. It's not like you need someone with you because you're scared of the result. And I understand that you want someone with you because you're worried about what the outcome's going to be. But when you're going for a test, it's a test. There's no result yet. I know I come across as an arsehole sometimes, and maybe in this instance I do. But I always see things. I try to see things from every angle, and it just seems to be that no one ever sees it from mine. Like I say, I'm not trying to minimize someone else's journey. I just, I'm the one that's living it. And so people a lot often with me, they seem to negate my journey, my feelings, and how exhausted I am, how hard life is for me. I don't want to be morbid or anything, but I have the capacity to jump off a bridge just like everybody else does. I don't, because I'm strong in myself, and I feel like there's more to like. It's up to nature to take its course, really. If we wake up every day, no matter how hard it is, there's a reason we're waking up today. Otherwise, we wouldn't. And that's how I see life. It's not for me to preempt anything, but believe me, I get that fed up though. That if I had the capacity, there's times when I probably would have done, but I just have to focus. I just have to let it burn through my brain instead, and get through a period. So some moments are so hard, and like I say, I'm the one that's alone. No one else in my family has this level of isolation. They don't. Now, I am the strongest in the family, mentally, in character. I'd argue you're probably the most intelligent. Um, it just is. And well, that's from my opinion anyway. So I can cope with a lot, for sure. But does it make it any fairer though? Like no one else has, like I said, no one has this level of alone. Sometimes they feel, other people in the family feel alone, but they always have people around them. And even if they're alone, it's for like a day or a weekend. It's like, you've never experienced this. This is 8 years of isolation. This is having to fight through family court for my daughter, having to battle for every inch to maintain a relationship. And then it's like, find jobs in the local area when you've relocated 100 miles. So I start a brand new life. It's put yourself in front of the world to potentially be judged, really, with everything I do, through my books, through the content creation, videos and things. I'm the one that's pushed the bar so far and always pushing it. I talk on topics that most people would be terrified to talk on. They're worried about their reputation too much, what people might think. They're scared to be vulnerable. I share everything. I don't care about opinions of me. I don't. I recognize when I speak and I'm vulnerable, there'll be someone that may need to hear that. It's okay. It's okay to be misunderstood as long as you understand you. But it's like sometimes we do need to prioritize ourselves and say no to people. And I'm comfortable saying no, and I'll have huge arguments over it, believe me. And I'll come across as the arsehole. And maybe in some instances I am the arsehole. But why should I be treated differently to other people? Other people would say no and not get questioned. I say no to something and it's like, oh yeah, oh well, you couldn't you? It's like, look, stop treating me different. Stop expecting me to be the savior of everyone's journey. I've got my own bloody crisis to work my way through. But I have people my whole life, and it gets demoralizing. I have people my whole life who take me for granted. They take advantage of me all the time. Always keep me like at a distance to an extent, but always like available for them all the time. I'm always like the one on the periphery. Um, or they just try to take advantage all the time. Like you can solve this, you can solve that, and it just gets exhausting. Yeah, life is tiring for all of us, and some of us have good days, some of us have bad days, and sometimes we're on top of the world, and sometimes we're at the bottom struggling. It's all part of life's journey, of course, but it's up to us to lift ourselves out. So sometimes, for instance, like my brother might have mental health people visiting. I don't have none of that. Like I said, I'm a strong character on my own. I can figure things out for myself. I'm not someone that actually needs someone to advise me through stuff. I know what I'm doing. I know why I'm feeling that way. I know how to process it. And I know what I need to do to cope with it. And sometimes it is work through it on your own. It ain't always a case of someone's going to come in and solve it. So he'll have people visiting. And then, of course, he'll tell his side of a journey, which people do. Um, and then he might say, oh, my brother doesn't visit. And it's like, yeah, but they're not hearing the other side of that. When do you visit me? It's like, what do you do with your day? Yeah, what is he doing with his day? What's the trauma you're coping with? What's the trauma he's coping with? Do you know what I mean? Like, we've all had our own personal traumas in life, but I'm the one that's still separated from my daughter. I'm the one that went through all that. I'm the one trying to work on book projects, trying to do this. It keeps me busy. I'm exhausted all the time. I'm physically exhausted from this because I stay up late. I'm mentally exhausted because of this the suffering I've had my entire life. It's 42 years of heavy burden, and it weighs on you because when you actually look at life, and I think rarely do people do this. Think of moments like really. I mean, some people have more than others, and I hope to God people do. I hope some people have had some beautiful moments. Believe me, I'm not a resentful person like that. I don't wish people to be worse. I hope there has been because it gives hope to others. But when you think of life and think about like truly happy moments, like when you've been really happy. Now it's hard to remember every moment, and maybe there's some times when you was truly happy, you forgot about it because there's so much nonsense mixed in. But think about how many times you feel like you've really been happy in life, like truly, like been some incredible moments. You're like, that was a great day. That was an incredible moment. That was a good period of my life. When I rewind through time, if I just do it briefly, like I said, there'll be pockets of windows there where you forget how happy you was and you're smiling, you're laughing, things like that. But for the most part, when I look at my 42 years, it's been heavy. There's been pressure left, right, and center. Most of the time, financial. A lot of the time, people betraying me, and it hardens you. It does harden you. And then the problem is that can cause you to be like some people call it hyper independence, but it can make you incredibly lonely because there's a lack of trust in people, or not even just always trust though. Sometimes it's like your standards become so high because you won't put up with that sort of person again. Someone that's going to treat you like crap. So your standards get that high that you just want more for yourself. Um, so yeah, it makes it harder to find someone to collaborate with, to even be in a relationship with. Um, yeah, I have people teaming up against me all the time, family members, all sorts. Wishing for my downfall, hoping I don't succeed because people don't like other people to do better than them. So they rather see you suffer to make them feel comfortable. It's sad, isn't it? And that's sad. And it is demoralizing when you put everything into something, like really everything. You've thrown your all, and you still can't. I don't want to say the success from it, but you can't gain a living from it. That's all it is. I'm not asking to be the richest person in the world, but it'd be nice to gain an income, like a salary from the things I do that actually bring me joy. helping people lights me up. But when my life is suffering as a consequence, it's harder. I wouldn't say I don't enjoy it because I still like to create content, even though sometimes maybe it looks like I don't. If I didn't, I wouldn't record. I wouldn't do it, would I? But it's exhausting when you're trying to uplift other people while your life is heavy as hell. Like I said, I don't. My finances are terrible all the time. It's so heavy and it's unfair. I've worked my ass off for a long time, like a long time. And when I sit still for a moment, people consider you lazy, but they don't see all the sacrifice that was done when you got nothing in return. All those nights up, all those days, months and months and months of working on these book projects, for instance, constantly doing these videos in my spare time, doing all these things. I don't get anything for them, and it's just a given that when you stop, now you're lazy, and it's like, no, I deserve a rest. I've burnt myself out and worked my ass off for years, for hours and hours with nothing in return. I deserve something. I do. That's where I get. That's at the moment is this. That's the two areas where I'm really demoralised a bit. Is that it would be nice to make an income off of what I do without having to do another job to supplement it. Having to go and do other jobs that don't bring you satisfaction. They're the only way you pay your bills. Whereas the things you enjoy don't pay anything. It doesn't make sense, does it? Especially when you're good at it. It doesn't make sense to me. That's just ludicrous. So do you lose hope and think, well, what's the point then? For some people, you can't make a career out of what you love. It doesn't make sense because it's supposed to work out. So that gets demoralising. Then there's the notion of love. Like, when none of us are getting any younger. I'm 42. I don't want to meet someone when I'm 60. I don't want it to be like that. That's ludicrous. I say it a lot. I don't want to be a monk. So we're all fighting our own little internal demons. We're all trying to work our way through life. It just gets frustrated though when other people throw curveballs, expecting you to be the savior of theirs, and it's like, who's the savior of mine? It's not a competition, but who's there for me? No one visits me. Now, obviously, that's my personality. I don't like unannounced guests. I've set an awful lot of boundaries with family members. So, of course, there's reasons for that. But I think personally, even if I didn't do that, people still wouldn't visit because I live the furthest from everyone. So when I visit my mum, you might bump into people there because it's the hub. And but no one bothers. No one's ever bothered with me. Even when I relocated, people were like, yeah, we'll come and visit. We can do this, we can do that. They never did. Always full of crap because everyone expects you to go to them. Um, so this isn't a video to try to minimize someone else's journey. It's just a reflection of my own, and I think hopefully it helps people see that, you know what, even if you're the strongest member in your family and you're struggling, it's like it's okay to prioritize yourself. People can misunderstand you, but it's for us to prioritize ourselves sometimes too, or quite often. It just is, because who's looking out for us otherwise? Everyone expects you to solve their problems, but no one's solving yours. It's like, I have to solve mine, you have to solve your problem. If I'm available and I can help you with this, I'll do it. If I can't, I won't. It's something simple like that. Like, I don't want to be rude and I don't like pointing out things, but I've applied for some like forklift warehouse roles to get some money coming in because I can't live like this. The poverty is just ridiculous. My back isn't the best anymore, but I'll do what I can. I need money. And like I said, this isn't providing me anything. I don't get anything from any of the content, my books at the moment. It's a joke. Um, but the thing about my brother, this is what he's like, and he won't say it, but I know he's like that. And it's frustrating because this is what a lot of my family are like. They will wish that you don't succeed so they benefit. And they won't say it, but I know they do. I know it. So, for instance, where he needs, he doesn't need, he wants assistance going to this hospital appointment. I need money, and a job will obviously provide me that, and it can provide me with sustained income, to help me. And that could give me a good year, couldn't it? So if something works out, anything could change at any moment. All of a sudden, your finances improve. You're not alone because you're at work. You can talk to colleagues, things like this. Maybe things will start improving for your life a little bit. I'm not saying it will dramatically change your life, but maybe it'll help. So that'll do good, wouldn't it? And that will help me for the rest of the year. But because he's got an appointment coming up, I guarantee you at home he'll be sort of like thinking, I hope he don't get it. I hope nothing comes up. I hope, and I think that's really sad of people that they do that. They literally wish or hope that you don't have success because they want you for something else. And that's the part of human nature that I absolutely hate. I absolutely hate that. I'd never do that. I don't wish for people's downfall or their struggle. It's just so negative. You know, and I think that just says a lot about people, though. You know, when they do that, it just makes you look at them a bit different. And well, you know, why should I sacrifice if people are going to behave like that with me? You know, this isn't supposed to be dig at people. It's really that he's the easiest comparison I can make because we're both alone, but our level of alone varies. You know, like he lives in a flat and he made friends with a neighbour upstairs. Now the neighbour's relocated, but he still visits, so he still gets someone that visits him sometimes. And because he's on his own little bubble, he just thinks he's more alone than me. Like he thinks it's harder for him, and it's like I don't know. Maybe some people have a harder time being alone than others. Maybe that's a thing. But I am the most alone of everyone. So I can't. I struggle to find sympathy for someone who does have people visit them. It doesn't make sense, does it? Yet they act like they're worse off, and it's like it doesn't make sense. The only way they could perceive being worse off is because they've got nothing to do with it. Like they've got a health problem now, like they're breathing and shit. But that's from smoking, vaping. I've never done any of that shit, and I've always told them don't. Then they have medical problems, and guess what? They still vape, and it's like, goddamn, do you learn? My family are all like this. Most of them. They have health conditions. You warn them. People have conversations. Say, look, you need to get your head this checked out. You need to stop doing this. They all think they're invincible. And I'm like, you're just so stupid because something's going to happen and then you're going to shit yourself. You say you don't really care because everyone does. A lot of people do this. Oh, I don't care. I don't care. Then they have a huge health condition and then they shit themselves. And they're like, oh, you know, they make excuses. And it's like, no, you was told before. You can't behave. You can't behave recklessly and then be surprised by the result. It's just stupid. And people all the time, I see it all the time. And you see it through family members, through generations. You're like, surely you can learn from it. We know that's bad for you. You know that's going to cause health concern. Why would you do it? And then they keep doing it because everyone, most people in human nature, most humans think they're invincible until they're not, of course. And it's crazy. So he struggles to walk now. Like when he's walking, he struggles to breathe a bit. And it's like, this is wild to me. And you can see it's all because of the vaping, the smoking, and all that shit. And to continue doing it, even when you're struggling to breathe, it's like mental to me. Like I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. I'm definitely not interested in vaping. I don't do none of this shit. Um, I don't follow people too well. You know, I don't. I'm my own person, and I don't give in to peer pressure. In fact, I like the challenge of going against it. I enjoy mental challenges. Um, but I don't have the health conditions most of them have because I don't have the same habits they have. You know, so sometimes you got to take like ownership of your own path, life, the choices you make, and start making better ones. I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like people can look to you to help them all the time, but sometimes you got to help yourself. And if you're not prepared to help yourself, what can anyone else do? You know, you can only say something to someone so many times. If you don't want to listen, don't listen. But I'm not going to hold my life up, and I'm not going to just like prevent myself from seeking happiness. So that's the thing. Like, let's say everything clicks together. Let's say the income starts improving. Let's say some serendipitous moment it happens, and I meet someone, and it becomes the love of your life, and you get married, and you have a family now. You have the life you've dreamed of. I know full well there'll be people around me who are jealous as shit, and they'll be wishing it didn't go so well. And I think that's really sad when I've been through my personal hell. You know, people don't. I talk about that a lot. People only support you up until a point, until it becomes makes them insecure. So most people don't cheer you on like legitimately. They cheer you as far as they want you to go. And I think that's really sad, isn't it? This wasn't supposed to be like a long rant or anything. It's just that I'm exhausted with life in my own personal bubble. So when I wake up, I'm sad. When I go to bed, I'm not particularly happy. I've coped through life at the moment. That's not to say life will always be like that. We all have our low days. I do hate the winter. I think it's personal. I think there's something with this. I think seasonal depression is a thing, and I think I suffer from that because I absolutely hate the cold and I hate the dark, and it gets dark too quick. So sometimes, let's say I get up late, I go to open the curtains, for instance, to let some light in, and it's already like my home don't get bright. It's annoying to me. It always winds me up. But in the winter, it's even worse. And you know, you open the curtains, you get like an hour or two. And it's not even full brightness. It's like half dim, and then before you know it, it's dark. So let's say I'm working on a computer in my bedroom or whatever I'm doing stuff, and then I walk down the stairs. I've got the curtains open. It's pitch black. You're like, this is outrageous. It's 4 or 5 o'clock. It's 4 or 5. You know, it's crap. So sometimes it's like, what's the point of opening the curtains? You know, what a miserable life. That's shit. And and yet you go on holiday to Southern Europe in the spring, and it's just so beautiful. Like the sun's out, it's incredible. Of course, the UK gets better as the spring and summer accelerate, of course, but the winter is harsh. It's horrible. Um, and it does bring your mood down because you feel. I always say that I hibernate like a bear, and I really do. I'll stay indoors for months, like 6 months a year. I'm probably stuck indoors because I hate autumn and winter. I don't like it. I like the summer. I like spring and summer, but I do like spring because I find the temperatures more balanced. Um, Fluctuates a bit, and it just like life comes into form, doesn't it? And it's coming up to that. So hopefully, as the spring comes in and we start to get better weather, I'll feel happier. And then you go out at the weekends, you go to the beach, you can do things. I think that's where you want life to be. What can you do in the winter? It sucks. It really does, especially in the UK. It's horrible. I hate it. Um, yeah, I think maybe the seasons show you though that life can improve and your days can get better. And sometimes it is the weather that weather literally does govern the options you have. Doesn't mean you can't do anything, of course. It's make the most of things. But like I said, I am quite alone at the moment. Not looking for sympathy, never am. Don't. It's not. Nothing's ever for that purpose. It's to shine a reflection off though, and just say, look, stop expecting the world of me when I've got my own stuff to work through. I do what I can where I can. It's a bit like if my brother saw my videos, for instance, and he watched my content, he'd learn a lot from that. If he invested in my books would help lift him up. But people don't want to do all that, do they? They just want a personal audience with you when they need it, but they don't want to invest in your life. And yet, by investing with the content I do, by investing in me, they invest in themselves. So it's not with me. It's not like you get nothing out of it. I don't sit on my channel and say go fund me or gift. I'm just looking for an equal exchange. Someone pays money, they get a book. You get the book, it changes your life, gives you a new mindset. And of course, if enough books sell, it starts to help change my life. And then I look on and I get to see, wait a minute, if that money's changed my life, because obviously it's small numbers at a time, I'll be fully aware that when the money changes my life, the amount of souls I've touched and that's helped their lives, that's what will make me proud. So the money will obviously help give me a better standard of living, but it won't be lost on me the amount of lives I've touched. I've no doubt that my books will help heal a lot of people. So yeah, I'm very confident in that. So that's part that I'll be like, that'll make me proud. And again, that helps our psyche, doesn't it? When you think you're doing something good in the world, you're having a contribution. I talk about it a lot. I don't care about the followers, but I do get annoyed by the views of my videos because the views are how many people get to see the content. How many people can it help? That's what bothers me. It's not fair when I only get 10 views or 20 views. It's like that, not even getting a chance to help people. That's where I get frustrated. So when my books are not selling, it's frustrating. I'm not earning money from them. But it's also frustrating. I put all that effort in to help people and it's not helping many. And it's like, well, that doesn't make sense. Sometimes things just don't make sense. But as you can see, even with my struggles, I'm sort of like relentless. I'm resilient. I still push myself forward. And I think I get to see two sides of this, two sides of a coin. My brother feels alone, even though he's not as alone as I am. He's alone, but he's not as alone. So in terms of loneliness, I am lonelier. But yet he wallows in his loneliness, whereas I always focus on my goals, my contribution to the planet, life purpose, what I'm here for. So even in my lowest, I'm still contributing. I'm always pushing myself forward. I'm always elevating. So there's always growth, and I'm always self-reflecting. So I think in terms of you take your internal, really your internal strength, your ability to pick yourself up, your fortitude, determination, those are things I have in spades. So I lift myself up. I'm too resilient to stay down, but yet he's showing me the alternative to that is to just feel sorry for yourself and not do anything. But the trouble is, there's nothing to get up for. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, with me though, I've always had it in me, especially younger. I always had the potential in me, like, to come alive at night. I used to be like, I'm more creative. I can be doing things. So sometimes that's what it is as well. So it's not like just a depression that keeps you awake. Like if you was entirely depressed, I think you would just sleep, sleep, sleep. I've had that in the past when I was going through the family court with my daughter. You would just try to sleep the days away. I'm just like frustrated a lot, but then when I find something to do, I'll finally jump on it. So like, there's a video game I'm playing at the moment. I'm playing living crap out of it, and it's a great way to get me away from reality just for a little while. And the thing is, I get so drawn into it. I'm like, oh, I'm playing this. I'm playing the shit out of this now. And it's always late at night. And then I'm like, I could go to bed, but what's the point? So I just keep playing it, knowing full well that I get to sleep through the most of the morning. So there's psychological reasons to it, of course. Um, but I've got to start. And again, I've got to get on with this book, and I talk about it a lot. But it's just I know the can of worms this thing opens. Once I start working on this book, it's a heavy because anytime you step back into it, it's heavy. So I've got to figure it out, and that's a process. Like where we're up to, what I've got to do, and then it's a commitment to do it regularly. And it's like I don't want to at the moment. My mind isn't ready for it, but I'm pushing towards it slowly but surely. But once I do it, it's a can of worms. It'd be 2 months of graft. Um, but like I say, I've applied for some forklift warehouse roles. It seems to me silly that I've got to go into that because I think I'm good at what I do. But if it pays the bills, it pays the bills. Um, but again, it's just time consuming. It's just more time to do that and that. But then there is the social aspect. At least you be. I think people forget that when you don't work or you don't do typical work. If you work from home and you don't have people around you, you get very isolated quickly. Whereas it's almost like therapeutic to go to work environments and meet people. Of course, you can have pockets of people you don't like. It's walk of life. But there might be one or two people you really get on with. And it becomes a really important part of your day more than you realize. Because everywhere I've worked, I've always gone well with some people. There's always some people that I don't like because that's life. But there's always someone I really like, and it's like, this is nice. So, I think it's easy to forget those things, of course. Yeah, I'm not sure if I've got the whole meaning of this video across or not, but, I've only shown a little pocket window into my life. But it's like everybody always expects more of me than they do of others, or even of themselves, and I find that absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, and rarely do people invest in me. That's another thing. People act like they support you, but their actions speak louder than words, and their actions haven't suggested that at all. Um, but I am my biggest source of light, and I just push forward all the time. No matter how hard life gets, I'll find a way, and I've got no doubt of the end result. Although as frustrating as it gets, I always put 1 foot forward, always. So, like I say, I do my videos. You never know who sees your videos, when people see your videos, and there's thousands of them now. So they can get algorithms and stuff like that. They can get seen, whether it's YouTube, whether it's TikTok. My books can get seen. They're on Amazon. They're on other places. You never know. At any moment, your life can change in quite a profound way. That'd be beautiful. Like I say, I could end up with one of these forklift roles, but one I applied for recently actually comes with a very good salary. So I thought, unless you apply for them, you don't know. So maybe that one works out. Maybe it's a different one. Who knows? But all of a sudden you've got a stream of money coming in, it's improving your finances, and then you're not focused. So I'm not so focused so heavily on the other opportunities that could come from the other projects I do. That'll be a nice bonus, and it'd be like, oh, okay. But you're not relying on it because you've got this other income coming. That'd be nice. And like I said, you never know when you meet someone. Life can change in a very beautiful way. So although it seems down and out today, it could only be that matter of days before your life changes irrevocably. So obviously, I'm not expecting that, but that's the point. Though, at any moment of any day, anything can happen, and I think it's better to put yourself in a position where it can than sit around doing absolutely nothing and guarantee that it can't. I think that's the thing, isn't it? So whilst I understand people have their issues, they have their needs, and they want people um, to support them, to be there for them, to help them through something. Sometimes it's a case you've got to do it for yourself sometimes too, though. And all of us have our own battles to bear. And I get a bit fed up, like, for instance, when my brother has his session with his therapist or whatever they are, the healthcare providers. And, I think sometimes just makes it look like I'm the bad guy. I don't bother. I don't see my brother. I don't see this. It's like, yeah, but I don't see anyone either. Like here, you're missing everything out here. You're making it sound like your life's harder than mine, when I think mine's harder than theirs. I think mine's a lot harder than theirs because I'm strong. It's like, oh yeah, but it ain't as bad for him. It's like, yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's like, tell him I'm the one that has the least. Let's be honest. I'm the loneliest, and I'm the one in the family at this present moment who has the least money of everyone. Other people, they claim loads of benefits. They get like, when they've got health conditions like they have, they get loads of money for that. They don't struggle. Sometimes they say they are, they ain't. It's just because they can't stop spending because they're bored. But they don't have the financial stress to the level that I do a lot of the time. They don't have the separation from their children like I do. They're not isolated like I am. And they don't often get as betrayed like I do, you know? So it's like, what do you say to these people when you say that? Because it's like, it's easy to paint someone in a bad light, but they don't know me. They don't know what I'm fighting against every day. And yet I'm expected to be the savior all the time because you're having a bad day today. It's like, oh, I think we're all struggling today, though, aren't we? Like, I'm struggling. There's days at the moment when my car doesn't even move. My car could be sat in the same spot for 3 weeks, up to 3 or 4 weeks. It could literally just sit there. That's how bad it gets sometimes, because I've got no reason to go out. I'll work on my books. I'll do this. Um, People think that, oh, you're lazy if you don't do this. No, I've just pushed away from traditional work because I'm focused on other areas of my life. There's too many people that criticize things like that. And yeah, it's okay. This is where I think people are funny. They think everyone should be doing traditional work, like 9 to 5, and have to go to a place of business because they do. Now, yeah, the majority of people, maybe they do, but other people have creative capacity. And you don't sit, let's say there's a sports star who's, they get millions a year and then they retire. No one question, like, let's say some become coaches, some become sports pundits, some just don't do anything. You never see someone say, oh, that person's lazy. You just remember the career they had. But yet, everybody else in walks of life is seen as you're lazy if you don't do what everyone else is doing. I don't consider me lazy. I'm exhausted. Look at my projects. I've got all of these. I've got all my books. That's only 4. I've got 6. They've got more manuscripts I'm working on now. I'm working on books. I just haven't had the recognition. Now, you get someone who's done novel after novel and they're successful from it. You don't consider them lazy because they're successful. So you look at the work they're doing, you go, oh, damn, he's done great. That's great. I've done the same work. I just haven't got the recognition for it. But you're considered lazy in the interim. How crazy is that? I know the work I do, and I don't really care when people think about it. It's like, it's irrelevant. I put the work in, and it's only when you get recognition do people start applauding you for it. Like it's come out of thin air or something, It's like, mate, that come out when I was exhausted. And I had every reason to sit still and feel sorry for myself. I just kept working. But yeah. But like I say, sometimes it comes with risks. We throw ourselves on the line, see if it works. And for me, financially, it hasn't worked. So I've got to go back and do other roles now to just get some income flowing again. Um, Whether I'll keep taking those risks, I don't know. I've always had a passion for it, though. So, like, if I really want to write a book, I just don't like things getting in the way. But at this point, I feel like I've wrote most of what I want to do. There's other additions, of course. So, like I said, there's manuscripts in development, but I don't feel like any of it's urgent anymore. So, I'm not sure how much risk I would take in future to do those books. If it takes me an extra 6 months, it takes an extra year. I don't know. I don't really mind at the moment. Whereas before, I really wanted to get the books out, so I'd leave the positions and things like that. There was reasons to leave, of course. I just want to show really there's ups and downs throughout life, and it's never as simple, I think, as people could think. But it gets exhausting when everyone expects you to solve their crisis when we all live with our own.